like what we were talking about earlier, the breeding between gods, the Indo-Aryans, the Indo-Europeans, and their subjects. So think about for example, the Indo-European rulers. In the case of the Mongolians or the Tartars, they travel around, they breed with all these different people. Conquering the snake could be a representative of them conquering the evil religion, or it could be a representative of them conquering the good religion and placing in the society that we now have. It's hard to tell which one is going on. We're almost there.
Is he wearing a necklace or something?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I don't know what it is. He looks a little bit fatter here too. There's our boy.
That was quite the image.
Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit weird. So we were talking about earlier how with Pepin and all these people, we were talking about the wife of Clovis, Clotilda, who was I don't even think I brought this up. I think we got off track when I was bringing up Clotilda and Clovis the First. But anyways, Clovis the First, which is the initial founder of the Holy Roman Empire, right? His wife was Clotilda, which was a Catholic priest. What does Catholic mean at this time, during this time period? It could potentially mean Jewish or fake Jewish or Phoenician or whatever you want to call it. Basically, the Baal worshippers. It could mean that. However, like I was saying earlier, the Jewish religion has also been corrupted and infiltrated. So I'm not saying Jews are evil. I'm just saying, I'm trying to give a term to refer to her as. But anyways, Clovis married this. The reason he did this is he married a Catholic woman to try to get connections with the Roman Empire, right? So whether or not the Roman Empire at this time was a certain religion or not, who knows? But Clovis married this woman. So this myth of the woman infiltrating to get power is what I'm referring to here with Melusine. Melusine is the goddess that you see on your Starbucks cup if you get a cup of coffee. She is a serpent-tailed fish creature, which ties back into that Merovingian king from an hour and a half ago that we mentioned in this stream. But this is her, and you see the fleur-de-lis on this guy's jacket here. The guy I read outside the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Melusine is the female spirit of fresh water and holy well or river. She is usually depicted as a woman who is serpent or fish from the waist down, much like Lamia the mermaid. So I think I include a slide in here, but just in case I don't, the original origin of the Scythians, according to Diodorus of Sicily and Herodotus, one of the myths is that Hercules, a demigod, descendant of Zeus, went over to Scythia, met this woman who was a serpentine body from the waist down, and she found his cows or whatever and took care of them. So she basically ended up seducing him, saying since I took care of your cows, you're going to have kids from me. You're going to help me have kids. Blah, blah, blah. So that's the descendants of the Scythians, the Tartars, all these people. Scythians are the Tartars, blah, blah, blah. I know this is a lot of information. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to get through it.
It's awesome.
But yeah, Melusine. She's a serpent. She's also a fish. The Counts of Luxembourg, the government of Luxembourg, still set to this day, right now as we're speaking, the people who are the Counts of Luxembourg, the House of Luxembourg, say that they're descendants of this actual mythological creature called Melusine.
Hey, does that have to do with anything with the fish Pope hat? Remember, I've sent you stuff with the fish Jesus, and how the Pope hat was a fish head too.
I do think it has something to do with that, because it does have the astrological connection. Because some people say that a lot of these stories are representing the transitions between the astrological signs to give us a warning for a cataclysm, or representing a place that we came from, our ancestors, if you believe in the ancient alien stuff. There's so many different theories about what it could mean, but okay. Yes.
Okay.
I think it does. Okay, so this is the German myth of her. So the most important thing about this is the lower body of the snake, because we're talking about the snake symbolism in association with the double-headed eagle, the double-headed snake. In a legend set in the forest of Swollengrad, a young man meets a beautiful woman named Melusina who has a lower body of a snake. Blah, blah, blah. Let's continue. You can look these up on your own if you'd like to, because we've been doing this for a long time.
I'm sure
She's also in Great Britain, the descendants of the House of Anjou, the House of Orange, I believe is what that is, which is like a very popular nobility. But basically, this myth is also in Great Britain. Pause in and read it if you'd like. Okay, so this is the main myth of Melusine. She ended up marrying the king of Albany or Albion, which if you look at some of the ancient maps of America, you see New Albion, which is very fascinating. But anyways, this is where the whole Jewish or Baal worship connection may come into play, because there was a rule where her husband could not see her on Saturdays because she turned into the serpent or mermaid form on Saturdays only. She was cursed by her mother to do this. The reason she was cursed by her mother is because her mother suffered a similar fate with her husband not supposed to be seeing her give childbirth, but her husband gave in and walked into the room and saw her giving birth, which caused her mother to take Melusine and her two sisters to like an island called Paradise, which could be a representative of America, who knows. But basically, the same thing happened to Melusine that happened to her mother. But for some reason, in this instance, her mother was the one who was the transgressor against Melusine and her two sisters. One of them became invisible, and I think the other one either became a man, or I can't remember what the other myth is. But no, I think Melusine is the one that became a man at some point. But I don't remember what the second sister became. I apologize. It's probably on this page as we're speaking, so if you're reading this. But Avalon, New Avalon, New Albion was a North American place. Who knows if there's a connection between that? But right here, I just want to show at the bottom, it says the grieving Raymond blamed Melusine, called her the serpent, and then she assumed the form of a dragon, provided him with 2 magic rings, and flew off, never to be seen again. We hear the myth and history of the red dragon being the one who appears before the end of the earth, so this could be an astrological symbol again. There's also the story of the monks who saw the moon split in 2 in the 1100s, with a red dragon being involved in that one as well. Just thought that was interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
There's also those Jesuit pictures with the dragons too.
I'd like to see them again. These are just depictions of Melusine. I think we're getting very close to the end here. We got about 30 seconds left of the presentation. Mermaid.
Boo! We want 5 more hours.
This is Melusine in her human form when she 6 days a week is oh yeah, so I forgot to mention that. So 6 days a week she's a human, 1 day a week she's the mermaid. It could be associated with the Jewish Sabbath on Saturday, because like I said before, Saturday her husband was not allowed to see her. So in history, a lot of conspiracy theorists and people who blame the Jews for a lot of things say that Jewish people send their women to become wives of rulers around the world, and that's how they get into power. So this could be associated with that anti-Semitism myth. Who knows? More depictions of Melusine. You can see she's a serpent tail in this one. That's her husband. Okay, so this is the Dracaena Scythia myth that I was talking about earlier, that she was a woman from the waist down, tail of a serpent. Hercules came over, basically had kids with her, said whoever can string the bow is going to be the king of all the Scythians. So one of the sons, named Scythia, I think was his name, he was the one who strung the bow. He became the leader of the Scythians, who eventually became the Huns, the Proto-Huns, the Xiongnu, the Russian horde, the Tartars, the Mongolians, all these people. And this is according to Diodorus of Sicily and Herodotus, ancient Greek historians who are used as primary sources of mainstream history and Scaligerine chronology, not a conspiracy theory. We're almost there. Okay, so yeah, this is where I started to get very unorganized because I didn't get to finish the presentation. But basically, what it ends up going into is just Japanese people. Like I was saying earlier, there's a study done that connects the languages between Japanese, Korean, Tungusic, Mongolian, Turkic peoples. And I speculate that the Japanese family crest for the samurai families are just coat of arms in a different form. These are very minuscule versions. Some coat of arms actually show the fleur-de-lis and other stuff on there. And the Ainu people of Japan were very European-like. I think that a lot of the modern rulers of Japan are more than likely placed in power very recently, and the history of Japan is tied in a lot more with the Ottoman horde or the Russian horde of the Tartars or these people. For example, there's connections between the Ottoman Empire and the Japanese in the way that the ancients used to dress and their matriarchal society, their religion, everything.
How was Japan portrayed before the World Fairs? Was it different?
That's the thing. It's like when you look up a lot of these World Fairs, Japan was always said to have the most amazing exhibits. Like everyone was so impressed by the Japanese exhibits. They're the most, I guess, I don't know, impressive of the entire bunch. Like if you read the newspapers and stuff, it always talks about how amazing the Japanese were. But I think it was in like the 1600s maybe that the Japanese changed a lot. When the Dutch East India Company and all those people started getting involved over there, I think that's when the culture started to change. They do have this mainstream history where there was an island where the Dutch were allowed to be, and that was it. They could not step off the island. And you have a lot of stories in Japan about Christian persecution and Christians going underground and stuff like that. Could that have been an installed regime to get rid of Christianity? Who knows?
Well, so
and wasn't it run by women too?
Sorry to interrupt, but I have this thought with like all of the world's fairs at these different spots, like, and compared to like nowadays how you have like we have modern like Chinatown, Italian town, Greek town, whatever in the big cities. And was it that these World's Fair sites actually these like past grand civilization like globalist sort of trading hub things, and like that you'd see like the Japanese style embassy, the German embassy, like every country had its own embassy there, including Tartaria. And then all of a sudden we get into after the American supposed Civil War, and then it's like now it's people in zoos in cages, and it's like where they all just conquered and destroyed and turned into something different than what it originally was.
I think you're onto something. If anyone else wants to answer before I talk, because I know I've been talking for a while, but I could definitely give some input to that. I think my opinion on what the World's Fair is, if you trace back the origins of the World's Fair, which ElkMan and I are going to be going into this weekend, but I'll just go ahead and drop some of the stuff now, I guess, is the World's Fair to me, it seems like it's more of like a in relation to the double-headed eagle. These same people control everything. The double-headed eagle represents both sides of the conflict. They have control over both sides because they are creating these flower wars between us. If you look at the history of the World's Fair, they are trade organizations designed for each corporation around the world to basically promote what they're capable of doing. So these World's Fairs events, at least in the early 1900s, late 1800s, were a way for the corporations to advertise what they're capable of doing to the people who control our world. And the losers of the World's Fair, the ones who did not do as well as the others, were the ones who ended up being conquered and eliminated as a result of war in these flower wars, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Because
very well, so that's a lot of good points actually, Shem. And I just wanted to finish off my little statement of that nowadays Albania, if anyone knows where Albania is, it's one of the youngest countries in Eastern Europe, and it's the NATO project of divide and conquer the former Yugoslavia, and its official national flag is, you guessed it, a double-headed eagle.
Yep, shout out Albania. The Albanian mafia is really strong in Columbus. Oh, that's the end of the presentation. Cool. We made it.
One random thought about the flower wars is the fleur-de-lis used to be a frog, and then once a certain king decided that they'd switch from alchemy to science, they switched it from a frog to a flower.
Yeah, I think that was more of an attempt just to cover up the esoteric meaning behind it, honestly, but it could have something more to do it, because even the frog was associated with fertilization in the past, so it's like, were they just changing the symbol so the average person couldn't understand what it meant, or was it something else?
I remember it having to do with a specific king ordering it happen, but I can't remember all the specific details right now.
Sarah, real quick, before you play this, can I just show one last thing real quick? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So this is from a book by Anatoly called The Great Wall of China Hoax. Basically, the division of the Tartars into three groups is already known as quite well. Chronology 4, which is a breakdown of Russia history. I suggest anyone reading it. I can send it to you. Just contact me on Instagram or email tartariantruth@gmail.com and I'll send it to you. Namely, we are referring to the Great Horde, Greater Russia, or the Blue Horde, Less Russia, the White Horde, or White Russia. So these hordes were divided up into different parts in history, and that's where you get the Holy Roman, the double-headed eagle is from these different hordes. These hordes, at one point in history, according to Anatoly Fomenko, were from the east coast of Asia all the way down into Spain. Believe it or not. They were allegedly the original Christians, the real deal Christians who, for some reason, were corrupted by their own family members at some point in history, and pagan worship got his way back into it. That's just Anatoly Fomenko's opinion on it. I have more information about this double-headed eagle, but we'll save that for another episode. Let's just get into the end of it. It's been a long time. I have a bunch of quotes from the other books.
Now I feel like we're gonna have probably a part 4. This got so deep. This was really good. Thank you.
Loving the series. It's excellent research and information, guys. Like, awesome stuff. Shout out Mindful Exposures and one beautiful expose of the background, moving back video background feature. Jelly figured that out. Shout out StreamYard, new feature.
Two-headed phoenix.
Yeah. I can help you with that, brother. We'll get you some like clips and stuff you can use. And this is my own footage. This is not stock footage. This is I actually drove down the road in the middle of nowhere.
I am speechless and mesmerized. Obviously, with special effects, but that is your footage. That's crazy.
It was ridiculous. It was one of the coolest places I've been, and definitely felt like this whole area actually has been super magical to me since I first went there. But if you've ever, it's the northern part of California. It's south of Crescent City. It's one of the most remote areas. It's up with the redwoods, and there's this location on the coast. You can take these back roads, and like nothing's out there. There's like 2 farms. It's freaking ridiculously magical. So yeah. And this is non-copyrighted music as well, so you're completely free of concern on all those levels. And I was going to play a little bit of the Zygist movie just because it sort of kind of finalized the first part. Do you guys remember part 1 where it gets into the religion and it connects all the different deities and the different, also the connection with the Moses story? And Shem brought a lot of
Zoroastrianism and so many. It's crazy.
I haven't seen it before. This guy says the survivors were the ones that made the top of the building. The remnants are buried beneath the monuments. Essentially all the word superstructure sank in a matter of minutes. Talking about mud flood. I've heard some mainstream sources that talk about mud flood. It's pretty shocking. That's a weird thing, is that mainstream history actually does talk about some of the stuff, but people just don't read it. But
was it
let's continue.
Just mud flooded? Tartarian.
Just flooding in general, like it's a common theme, and obviously it's in our the Bible.
Yeah.
And then the Scablands again, and that's what I was kind of getting into that. I think before you popped on, Bernie, with Oregon and the flood evidence, and then it connects with the Scabland, and then you've talked about this with Canada. Think about that whole area.
Yeah, and everything Randall Carlson has showed in the Scablands there. It's crazy stuff. And just the old maps. The old maps are clearly either from or traced from pre-cataclysm. There's no doubt about it.
I did find these cool. I'm looking forward to getting more diving into it, but these portolan charts that just our ancient maps of and kind of the original drawn maps of the original port system. I feel like that could be some good evidence if we we go down that pathway. So okay, do you guys want to play a little bit of Zeitgeist right now? And we can pause it and talk through it, and you guys can definitely chime in.
Absolutely.
Let me know if it sounds okay.
Yeah, I can hear it.
You might have to add my other one in a minute because my headphones are at 5%.
This is the sun.
Sorry, say that again.
I'll text you if you have to add my other screen.
Shem might die. Don't die, Shem. We need you.
Yeah.
I'll text it if it happens, but I'll just let you know.
Okay, don't go. Okay.
Don't leave us.
We're dying here.
Your name is in the title. We need you. But we still have ElkMan. Yeah,
Well, I knew, so Shem's been working really hard and he's been really busy and he's trying to put out really good content and take his time doing it. So I had told him that if he needed to dip out, you know, sooner than later. And that's sort of why it felt like cool, like you guys popping in. And Rebecca too, who I haven't talked to you guys about, like we've done a deal together. I think it would be really fun if we all did a show together at some point. You, me, ElkMan, and Shem, and
I'm down, absolutely. Weekends are best for me now. As Bernie got a gerb, and
I thought so.
2 gerbs. It's ridiculous. It all comes at once, right?
Yeah, it's gonna get better though. It's only gonna go up from here. So just get ready because it's, you know, just hold on to your tushy, and you don't have to worry about this stuff.
Just to the moon and through it.
All right, here we go.
As far back as 10,000 BC, history is abundant with carvings and writings reflecting people's respect and adoration for this object. And it is simple to understand why, as every morning the sun would rise, bringing vision, warmth, and security, saving man from the cold, blind, predator-filled darkness of night. Without it, the cultures understood the crops would not grow and life on the planet would not survive. These realities made the sun the most adorned object of all time. Likewise, they were also very aware of the stars. The tracking of the stars allowed them to recognize and anticipate events which occurred over long periods of time, such as eclipses and full moons. They in turn cataloged celestial groups into what we know today as constellations.
No shit.
This is the cross of the zodiac, one of the oldest conceptual images in human history. It reflects the sun as it figuratively passes through the 12 major...
Sorry, say that again?
Anything zodiac is anti-archaics, if you didn't know.
Uh-oh. You know, and yeah. Okay. Well,
there's the Greek cross.
So you don't know Bernie, and this might be a good quick moment to mention this. So I've come up with something that I've discussed before, but I think it would be really fun to challenge this community to some old school high school debate style discussions and leave it with some good open-ended doorways at the end of it, not leaving it, you know, not making it super stringent. But I would love to invite all these people to the table. Say that again.
I would love to be a part of some old school, new school debates.
Old school, new school. You heard him. You hear
Meta school debates. It'll be called the Meta School Debates.
And I can show you. If you guys, not to make everybody get onto my channel and check my shit out, of course, you know, plugging. But my past lives kind of go over this into the discussion of the debate structure and the timing that we're going to have. So there's opening statement, rebuttal, closing, and then my whole thing, open discussion. And I'm also willing to like add a whole other element into this. And then here's the fun thing: we're going to do silly discussion topics. So we'll have like a whole serious section. We're going to talk like regenerative. We're going to talk free energy. We're going to talk universe. Like the universe, is it infinite? Let's start saying, is that true or false statement? This kind of discussion, zodiac symbology. So the whole thing though is I'm not looking for drama. I'm not looking for like full on crying and destructive.
No scream
behavior.
crying allowed. Scream crying
Well-
will be muted and booted.
Although some crying, but
Scream crying. Scream
in
crying.
good taste. In good taste, right? Okay. Anyway, and then there's a whole other method. It's called the Delphi method, and so with this, it would actually just be like a more casual, like planned questioning, and then layout where the people can prepare for it, and then even present some information if they want to through their questioning. So we're going to have both options available, and then I want to throw in a mixed bag. So like the topic and the side that you get to choose is going to be decided like last minute, like the day of. And I'm hoping that that's going to be kind of a fun one. So much to come with that. And all I have to say is bring it, because the information, if you haven't read my disclaimer, I'm trying to just bring, and if you weren't listening to Shem closely, and I'm not trying to ridicule anybody, but he's pretty clear on the fact that we're presenting as much information as we can for you all to make a decision, and showing as much similarities as we can. So hopefully you can see the pathways. And, you know, obviously we have our thoughts on things, but we're always trying to be, I think, as this group, as I've seen, as open-minded as possible. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Here
constellations over the course of a year. It also reflects the 12 months of the year, the 4 seasons, and the solstices and equinoxes. The term zodiac relates to the fact that constellations were anthropomorphized or personified as figures or animals. In other words, the early civilizations did not just follow the sun and stars, they personified them with elaborate myths involving their movements and relationships. The sun, with its life-giving and saving qualities, was personified as a representative of the unseen creator or God, God's Son, the light of the world, the savior of humankind. Likewise, the 12 constellations represented places of travel for God's Son, and were identified by names, usually representing elements of nature that happened during that period of time. For example, Aquarius, the water bearer, who brings the spring rains. This is Horus. He is the sun god of Egypt of around 3000 BC. He is the sun anthropomorphized, and his life is a series of allegorical myths involving the sun's movement in the sky. From the ancient hieroglyphics in Egypt, we know much about this solar messiah. For instance, Horus, being the sun or the light, had an enemy known as Set, and Set was the personification of the darkness or night. And, metaphorically speaking, every morning Horus would win the battle against Set, while in the evening Set would conquer Horus and send him into the underworld. It is important to note that dark versus light, or good versus evil, is one of the most ubiquitous mythological dualities ever known, and is still expressed on many levels to this day. Broadly speaking, the story of Horus is as follows. Horus was born on December 25th of the Virgin Isis Mary. His birth was accompanied by a star in the east, which, in turn, 3 kings followed to locate and adorn the newborn savior. At the age of 12, he was a prodigal child teacher, and at the age of 30, he was baptized by a figure known as Anup, and thus began his ministry. Horus had 12 disciples he traveled about with, performing miracles such as healing the sick and walking on water. Horus was known by many gestural names such as the Truth, the Light, God's Anointed Son, the Good Shepherd, the Lamb of God, and many others. After being betrayed by Typhon, Horus was crucified, buried for 3 days, and thus resurrected. These attributes of Horus, whether original or not, seem to permeate many cultures of the world, for many other gods are found to have the same general mythological structure. Attis of Phrygia, born of the Virgin Nana on December 25th, crucified, placed in a tomb, and after 3 days was resurrected. Krishna of India, born of the Virgin Devaki, with a star in the east signaling his coming. He performed miracles with his disciples, and, upon his death, was resurrected. Dionysius of Greece, born of a virgin on December 25th, was a traveling teacher who performed miracles such as turning water into wine. He was referred to as the King of Kings, God's only begotten Son, the Alpha and Omega, and many others. And, upon his death, he was resurrected. Mithra of Persia, born of a virgin on December 25th, He had 12 disciples and performed miracles.
I'm so sorry. I had to pee really bad.
Do they give any sources for this stuff? I've never heard that ever about Dionysus ever. That he's the only begotten son.
I think they do.
I have actually learned all of this in religious studies in post-secondary. I was taught by an Israeli professor, and everything this is being claimed so far is accurate and true. It's actually pretty crazy.
Dionysus is the only begotten son. Please type in Dionysus and show me any myth that says that. But continue. I mean, it's great work.
Okay,
it's great work so far.
Maybe not that. Maybe I missed.
I'm just saying, like, it's just weird. It's a weird thing to say.
I think so. I think
there's no.
The same with the Horus one is for sure.
Persephone is the androgynous sister of Dionysus, which could be literally either Dionysus himself or at least his sister. There are multiple gods in Greek mythology that are brothers and sisters of Dionysus. I don't know. Just that's weird. Continue though. I'm sorry. I've never seen this, and I was just like, what? Because they're not providing any sources on the screen. Like, this is where I got this information from. It's just some guy saying it.
I'm pretty one of the stoned at the moment, so I might have like overclaimed, but I'm pretty sure the vast majority of everything he said is like what I was taught, and like every single one is the exact same story, from like Zoroastrian through Greeks through like Norse mythology through Egyptian through Sumerian through Babylonian. It's even the Gilgamesh one. I think it's the exact same. It's ridiculous.
Dionysus.
Yeah, I gotta double check.
Let's look it up right now.
You are much more versed in the specific field, so I'm gonna shut up and
let's rewind it.
Fact check and see if it's correct.
I mean, even if one source says it, it's still worth considering. You know what I mean? If there's one source that says Dionysus is the only begotten son, it's still worth considering. I'm just saying I've never heard that ever. I wish, and I want to hear it because it makes him more connected to Jesus than I thought before. If that makes sense. Like, I'm being optimistic about it. I would like for that to be the case, is what I'm saying.
I'm trying to type this as quickly as I can. Look it up. Hold on 1 second. Begotten son is really like the words we're looking for, right?
I don't know. I've never heard it. Like, I've never heard of a myth saying that. I just want to. Sorry.
King of Kings. Here we go. Dionysus, born a virgin on December 25th, killed and resurrected. Dionysus was considered the only begotten son, King of Kings, God of gods, sin bearer, redeemer, anointed one, and the Alpha and Omega.
What's that from?
It's from Stellar House Publishing. I'm looking at like direct from the. Okay, now here we go.
From and listen to the dates. December 25th, the exact same as Jesus's. They're all the exact same. It's the exact same every single one.
From mythology.stack exchange, 4 of the many epithets used to describe Dionysus in the Orphic hymn. Thrice begotten. Hold on.
Yeah, thrice begotten. That's in the Orphic
firstborn. Yeah, listen. O firstborn, thrice begotten, Bacchic king.
Yeah, it says firstborn, first.
Yeah.
Which seems to imply that there's more after that. That's the Orphic hymns do say thrice born, which associates him with the fleur de lis and the Trinity, because he was just like Osiris, just like Osiris, he was divided up into pieces and then brought back to life because he was eaten. I'm pretty sure he was eaten by like a Titan or something. But
yeah,
it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that I'm not trying to discredit the documentary they were watching. I just never heard that before, and I didn't even mean to like go off on this tangent.
No, we gotta fact check these things. Like, good on you for calling it out. And I'm pretty sure that we just proved it is accurate, and I'm pretty sure that I was taught the exact same thing, and that there's like literally 20 different religions with the exact same stories everywhere. It's the exact same. It's pretty crazy.
That's why I
Same
knew it would
date.
be worth it to revisit this, because I feel like I've forgotten a lot of this myself.
Yeah, I'll have to contact my old professor and get him on, and then you can cite an Israeli religious major professor. Yeah.
Sorry for flipping through the chat so fast. It's like, I wish there was an option to like scroll through, you know, as you could to some extent. What's up, Sherry?
Yeah,
It's
like
good to meet you.
auto post each one at like the rate that it would take to read, sort of thing.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
yeah. It's a simple ad they could put on there because it's a simple like pause and play thing, you know. I'm not, you know, I just like to share because there's a lot
Born
of
a
cool
Virgin, December
commentary.
25th.
All
Performed.
right. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. Appreciate you all. Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
appreciate you.
Sorry,
And
guys.
Much love, Shem.
here, appreciate you too, because I think ElkMan was going to jump off, and just like appreciate you guys coming on for this bit. And yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Much love.
definitely. We're gonna we'll do another show. All
Part
of us.
4, Part 5, Part 54, all coming this weekend on our channels. Make sure you subscribe to all of them. ElkMan, Man, Mindful Exposures, S-Raw, Shem Jacobs, Tartarian Truth, BurnEye, Mind's Third Eye, ScienceGuy, and the Crypto Alchemist. All 4 of us each have 2 YouTube channels, so that's 8 that you must go subscribe to.
I really only use one right now. Like the one I was gonna create is still gonna happen because this channel is like definitely got its ever since I did that Amanda Vollmer interview. That one when we did it with Richie, and like that was like our biggest one. And it was so random because he and the other channels we went on had like no views, and that I got all the views, and then we all got warnings. And ever since then, my views, and I know you've probably seen this because I don't get like a ton of views, right? So when one of my videos goes above 100, I do notice that because it's just like in my vision when I'm sifting through, right? And then it'll drop like 30, so it'll distinctly drop before, you know, and it's like, oh, word.
When it should be going up every single time, they make.
I still have a warning on my account because I kind of effed up in the process of I just deleted the interview instead of trying to like adjust it and you know, go against it, right? So I know that has it, whatever. I don't give a shit. Anyway, sorry, not trying to start. Okay, so and the other thing too, again, I just want to throw that out there that yes, we're gonna have more parts of this. We're gonna definitely be doing. Shem and I have this like huge inspiration, and now I think it's stemming in that we're gonna have some other people involved in this. And I just had said their names as well, but we're going to do this whole like ancient America thing. That was kind of the other name idea for the show, but I love Pareidolia Dreams. And this is going to connect into next summer when we get to go into Utah and do some really cool exploration with the statues. Cause that's sort of where the Pareidolia thing comes into play that's kind of how I came up with it. So, oh, what's this?
Oh, this is this is the file of photos of pyramids that I'm going to be going through with on part 2 with Sam Osmanovic there, the Bosnian pyramids.
Cool, great.
ElkMan here was the one that showed us the map of this Devon Island Pyramid Bay, and then I entered it into ye old DuckDuckGo. And we got some pictures of some pyramids up in Nunavut, Canada, Devon Island, the largest, most furthest northern supposed island that is uninhabited except by NASA, and they run their rovers up there, and supposedly the Mars.
And it was called Cape Pyramid.
Cape Pyramid. Sorry.
Yeah, you're not gone yet. Hello.
Yeah, I'm hiding out a little bit, but I'm not here either.
Wow, these are pretty profound pictures. The shapes on that. That's
these ones. There's 2, and they're in Russia, I think Kamchatka area. This, of course, Chichen Itza in Mexico. I've been there. The sound effects and the solar effects just nuts. This one's also in Russia.
Oh wow.
This Utah Pyramid Lake in Utah, the pyramid.
Oh yeah, that's going to be on the definite
China.
list next year.
Of course, the Grand Canyon Isis Temple, pre-facade, pre-government airplane. Man, the U.S. government, their airplane crashes do the weirdest things. Like this one, when it crashed in the 50s, it just like magically made a giant brick wall. This another Chinese pyramids. Oh, here we have Pyramid of the Sun. One of the Bosnian pyramids. So Sam was saying there's actually 14 or 15 now pyramids in total they've discovered in this entire complex. And the beam that comes out of the Pyramid of the Sun, that they actually track it, and the beam aims at the sun and goes with the sun. So it's like this picture would have been taken at noon, high noon, when the sun was right above it.
Oh, that's a beautiful picture too.
Pyramids Lake in Utah.
Okay, so hey, real quick, that picture really makes me think about the haystack rocks along the Pacific coast. They look a lot like that, and I have a theory that you're looking at pyramidal structures because it's like in distinct patterns too, and it's all along that. So, yeah.
Like that's pretty rectangular building complex right there,
for sure.
Here,
that one, I mean, is like really obvious.
This is Guangpong Dong
and
Indonesia. Here we go. There's the second one behind
it. Just real quick, I think it actually a really good thing to note. Sorry about some of this terracing that you're showing, is that BurnEye went on an exploration. If you're not familiar, if you haven't seen his Badlands footage, you should, and you should see when he actually discovered that there was distinct terracing. And if you outpan, this isn't bullshit. This is well-known ancient structure setup that it's clearly a chief's face, and that he was able to actually see this terracing, I think is very profound and something that we need to really highlight.
14 or 15 faces, geogiant warrior faces in total at the site. And yeah, we'll be doing part 3 with Hans Dietrich, and you're invited as well. Julia and Shem, of course, come back. ElkMan as well, of course, and we will get Hans back on, and probably this time next week we'll aim for.
I think that's really great, that especially your stuff with Julia and just like all these connections. I've told you, you're the connection man.
We all are. It's awesome. It's
okay, I appreciate that, because actually I've had some weird realizations.
Hey, you're good, man. You're weird. We're gonna do Terry Carter right away.
Yeah, you know,
for,
BurnEye, if you were here and you would have gone to the festival and you would have, all the would have happened anyway. So but I can't wait for next summer, and I'm excited for maybe some expeditions for us all to go up there, and for obviously you to come down here. So who knows?
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. Live footage coming. Boots on the ground with the crew.
And I still have a bunch of unreleased pictures and video footage from the Medicine Hats, Badland, Guardians, and the terracing there, as well as the Red Rock Coolies, head smashed in Buffalo Jump, another megalithic pyramid site in southern Alberta, it looks like, as well. There's so much. I visited a lot this summer. It was pretty awesome to get out. Here we're looking at the depictions of some of the lost pyramids of, is it Nazar Lake in Egypt in the plateau there?
That does sound correct. And you know that, okay, the pyramids in Antarctica, there was like a mainstream media article that said, yes, we're acknowledging this exists.
I haven't seen that one yet. That's
I can't believe it, because it's like, I feel like I find these so randomly, and then it's like not really talked about, but I find these like random articles. I'll pull it up later.
Please do. So Mexican, I think Pyramid of the Sun and Pyramid of the Moon, and a twister dirt devil right off the top center. I've seen this on several of the Mexican pyramids, and it's like these were all found with mercury chambers underneath, lots of tunnels still being dug out, and that when they were first discovered, right, they were dirt mounds that were then excavated, and that they had layers of mica that completely covered them, which is a electronic component, like essentially makes it a supercapacitor, battery bank sort of thing.
Wow. And to see
Dielectric,
it coming out of that middle, like upper part right, very distinct. That's fascinating. And I was kind of getting into this because of the whole grounding concept of how we have to function with electricity and having that set up. So think about that. It's like a grounding tower.
Yeah. Cosmic grounding mountains. And this is another one in Indonesia. It is also on the Ferrum Foundation. Oops. Geoglyphs. Ooh, wrong way. And it's still got active terraces all the way up it. So it's still being actively farmed to this day. But look at that. Most likely extremely ancient made, just still being utilized.
Very steep too. Did you notice that? Like even compared to what we're used to seeing in Asia, that was very steep.
And look at this. This is a Chinese pyramid one, and it looks like it is also a step pyramid with terraces everywhere on it.
Definitely. From that angle,
pyramid,
sunken in.
Yeah, see, there's the second one behind it. And this is when the tide is out. So this one's between France and somewhere in Europe. I forget which, maybe Italy. Another one of these Indonesian ones. And it's like, well, that looks kind of just like a mountain. What's with all these crazy different angles? But then when you get into Arthur Ferrum's geoglyphology, and when he measures each of these specific lengths and angles on this mountain pyramid, it actually plots out to all the other specific ancient pyramid sites of the world, and how he's been able to decipher and find all of these beyond mega macro terraform sites, including the Medicine Hat Badland Guardians. I believe this is Tum Tum Mountain, but could be wrong. It is in the US. There's several pyramid mountains there. This is the Bosnian pyramids with some of the primary water in the middle. And this is all the tunnels. One is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, I believe. Or maybe the dragon. Chinese Pyramid, Bosnian Pyramid, and we're done. We are done. Oh, Sarah, you're muted. I can't hear you if you're talking, sister.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
That's why you go straight with the partner. It's a wonderful thing.
Seriously. I would have realized it pretty quickly, but well, not that quickly. Anyway, yeah. I have like 6 screens open now because I use Chrome and Firefox, so that I do my video on Firefox because for some reason Chrome will not allow me. But it's optimal for my audio, it seems like, and then obviously to function through Chrome, right? When you're like trying to play things with audio or do other things, seems to be better. So anyway, welcome to the live. This is how it goes. Woo! Anyway, so like they even started off with saying like conspiracy theorists. I've discussed the attention brought to Antarctica and the bleeding waterfalls and but they talk about how this guy actually like climbed this mountain and that
some people just know that's not.
Oh, what was that? Oh, was that you?
No, that was a stupid ad on your thing. I'm completely muted.
Whoa. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I scrolled past it. I see what happened. Yeah, I can just mute this site. You can see this though, right? This depiction right here.
Yeah, the Pyramid Mountains there. There's like 2 or 3 of them right there. 1, 2, 3 looks like Orion's belt. Looks like the Egyptian ones almost.
And then they actually give you the coordinates of it as well. So for anybody, put that in the
snap
chat for you right
we
there.
got to Google that ones. So I'm going to have to bring that up with Eric Hecker the next time I see him, because he has also, while he was down in Antarctica working his 1-year stint at the South Pole there, one of the times they were flying in or out of base, he said they saw the Pyramid Mountain a couple of times, or a couple of Pyramid Mountains a couple of times, and one of his coworkers gave him a picture of one of them, and they seem to be all over there and everywhere. And
as a thought, especially because of Julia, now that I'm thinking about it, there's this show, and I plugged you, and they were talking a lot about Eric Hecker, and I was like, I was like, hey, my friend just did an interview with them, and it's a new little channel, and they don't really do interviews as far as I can tell, and they're definitely like got it like all structured, but I enjoy it because they get into like lore and stuff. But it's called like The Metaphysical, and you know, they've kind of blown up in numbers too, but it, like, hopefully, potentially, it would be cool if you, because, you know, another thing is they would probably get into the whole Dutch sense thing. But why I brought up Julia is because the one of the main guys in the show is a remote viewer, and that's actually a whole part of the interview, is that they bring up these topics, and then he has a group of people that remote view in on the topic at hand. And they've also done a ton of stuff on Mount Shasta, and I'm not like terribly far. So next summer, I think like there's going to be a lot of expeditions.
That place is like,
I've been there.
Yeah, but
there's this thing called
places. Don't go into the sketchy places, from what I have.
Oh, I know, like that would be a place I wouldn't go in by myself. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And there was so much energy when I even just like was driving through that area, and there's this whole place called the Castle Crags, and when you see it from the road, it straight up looks like an old castle that got melted. It's kind of crazy. But then there's this there's a whole bunch of
the stories of the under mountain like reptilian freaking cave city there.
I have heard about that, and I there's a whole, isn't it the whole concept of and I apologize, you guys, for my ignorance on this, because some of this still is new to me in a sense, but the Lemurians, aren't they supposed to be like, there's a city underneath?
Yeah, the story goes it's like a Mayan or Olmec or like Aztec-y style, like under mountain, like megalithic, like temple style city under like the mountain, like underground, and that it's like no longer inhabited by humans, but some weird reptilian likey thingies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really interesting rock structure, obviously, but it's not that it doesn't happen elsewhere. It's just
it's everywhere, but it's intentional. Look at that. Oh yeah, like that looks like a whole bunch of Guardians.
Look at this picture, Bernie. This is like a faraway shot, and
look
like
at that
you see that like just sitting up in its glory. It's quite beautiful, actually, but also like I could feel the energy, and I am a definite, you know, call me woo woo. Hello, woo woo Wednesday. I'm all about like whatever psychic ability I have is all about feeling. It's all about like I can feel people's thoughts. I know that sounds really fucked up, but I can actually, if you're like disturbed by something I said or like emotionally affected, I can actually feel the emotion and translate that into words. It's sort of It's become stronger is partly why I'm able to say that more in an articulate way, but yeah, it's all good. So anyway, yeah, that's the Castle Craig. You want me to play the Zeitgeist a little bit more? We could continue finish that, but if you
Sure. To be honest,
Sorry.
I'm going to have to log off as I have 2 jobs tomorrow, and also please prayers and positive energy for my father-in-law. Amber's dad is in the hospital, just had his underwent surgery today, lost his leg. He was in a fire a couple days ago. Not a good situation, but yeah. And to top it off, started a new job, so it's like we got just a whole lot of stuff. So
okay.
my
Actually,
apologies.
it's kind of crazy because everybody's talking about this right now. Like, there's just a lot going on, but big time healing and love energy on that. Like big time recovery, and just patience is my biggest thing with healing. Like, just everybody give yourself patience and forgive yourself. Make sure he's forgiving himself with whatever happened, helping him through that.
Blessed keywords, sister. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Much love. So yeah, I will be back this weekend, and we will get stuff this weekend, and I will message you, and we'll set something up, and we'll get it all done. Or if you don't hear from me by Friday morning, message me to be like, Bernie, what the hell are you doing? And I will get on it. But we should be good.
Because I actually am going to talk to my friend Bill, who I would love for you to do interviews with. Who he's like one of the old schoolers up in Utah who knows Terry very well. Like,
hell
and
yeah,
he and I talk on the regular. So
okay, let's do that this weekend.
Gold, like really key, good mineral, like, and then obviously like the lore of Utah. Like, it would be a really good interview. So we can do that. Okay, but in the meantime.
It's at least a 3-parter, like by what you're describing right there.
His stories,
Utah,
beyond like
right?
we can do a whole series on Bill, and he's a part of the Utah Adventures. Like, he's my connection.
Pretty sure I know what Bill is. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, Bill Adams.
Good work.
He's super awesome, guys. But yeah, I convinced him to get a laptop, so he's gonna be doing lives, and it's gonna be awesome. But anyway, you just.
I'm gonna take off. I gotta work some construction siding, and then I gotta go work my CBD packaging, beverage packaging job. Got 2 jobs tomorrow. And
nice.
Working hard.
Cool. So, I can't wait to talk to you more about that. I knew something was going on because obviously, like, I poked at you a few times, and I was like, I haven't seen Bernie around, and that's not, I knew you were busy, so. I can feel it too.
For sure. So, I'm gonna end it on my one channel, but leave it on my other channel so that
I didn't play anything copywritten. I can end it
exactly right. So now you can do whatever you want, and I can also put it on a Facebook as well. So it's also
cool. Because I'll end it with a video that does have a copyrighted song. So. But you guys, I'll just pretty much I'll kind of play us out with Zeitgeist, and that way you guys can enjoy the rest of it if some of you hadn't seen that or needed a refresher. But super appreciate this. This is awesome. Enjoyed this show all together. Shem, big shout out to Shem because like the amount of information he presented tonight. So all of you, because Bernie kind of came on later, please, if you get a chance, go back and watch the beginning part because holy shit, Shem.
yeah, absolutely. I didn't get Shem.
I had so little time.
Sarah's channel and watch that first 2 hours because it is really good. You got for the part 2 or the original part, because this is probably it's 3.5 hours total stream on Sarah's. I believe 1 hour or 2 on mine. But the first 2 hours Shem did was just next level presentation. So make sure you go subscribe to Mindful Exposures and check it out. And I will be back this weekend. And ta-ta.
Thank you.
And do continue Zeitgeist because Zeitgeist is epic. For those that haven't seen it,
Just with our conversation today, I feel like it's kind of a good like way to.
It needs to be played either way. So
right. Okay. Cool. Appreciate that. Okay. Love you, BurnEye. Love you, brother.
Love you too, sister, and love you all. Wishing everybody a blessed weekend, and we'll be back for Weekend at BurnEye's.
Weekend at BurnEye's. New intro coming. Awesome. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. This has been fun.